Great. Thank you, Rosa, for that very lovely introduction. Okay, before I start my talk today, I would just like briefly introduce my university. University Technical Malaysia Melaka is one of the 4 technical universities in Malaysia. We are situated in the historical city of Melaka. We're not very far off from Kuala Lumpur. We pride ourselves in being a university that is practice and application oriented. We have more than 100 industry partners, and basically the university offers courses related to engineering as well as technology. Like even if in our department we have a degree program which is in AI, and we also have a master's program in data science. So if you are interested, of course, you can contact me to ask further on the courses. All right, let's jump into the train or all about chatbot train. Things that you need to know. Well, basically, in today's talk, I will touch on 3 things. So, firstly, I will give you some basic of NLP, which is a very core component for chatbot. I will then introduce to you what chatbot is, and then maybe show you some components of the chatbot, and then show you what are the benefits of using a chatbot and all that. And finally, I will give you some examples on how chatbot is being used in daily life. Right. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. Maybe not so with Alexa, unless you have a automated home. But I'm sure you've listened to a song and asked, "Hey Siri, what song is this?" And maybe, oh look, wow, looks like my Siri is responding. Okay, and then you might even ask, "Hello Google, show me the best route to get to Malacca." How does actually AI understands all this? All right, I need to off my Siri first. Okay. Okay. How does AI actually understand this? Well, the answer is natural language processing, or in short, NLP. NLP is a field of artificial intelligence that enables computers to analyze and understand human language. The ultimate objective of NLP is to read, decipher, understand, and make sense of human language. When a human and AI converse, what happens is that when the human talks, the AI will capture it as an audio, and the audio will be converted into text. The text will then be processed as a data, and the AI will decide what to do with the data. The data will then be converted into audio, and the audio will be played to the human. So that audio will come up as a response to the question that the human is saying. NLP is being used in many applications. I'm sure you must have used at least 2 or 3 of this. First is language translation, whereby we get NLP to translate foreign languages into language that you can understand. We do have virtual assistants, something like Siri, Alexa, and all that. We do have sentiment analysis, whereby we use NLP to find out what are the perceptions of or opinion of public on maybe a company's product, or maybe on a certain topic that we're interested in. NLP is also used in predictive text. For example, you are filling a form. You have only typed MAL, but it predict that you want to write Malaysia, for example, in a form where they ask for your country. You can also do data analysis, and the most common one is, I think, search engine. We also have grammar check. It also uses NLP to check whether you are writing correctly. And we also have spam filtering used in email. But what we are most interested in today is the chatbot. So what is a chatbot actually? Chatbot is a computer program designed to interact, especially over the internet, whereby it artificially replicates the pattern of human interaction. So I'm showing you now an example of a chatbot that Nike uses on its Facebook Messenger. So you can see human can engage with the chatbot like it's speaking with another human. Gartner said that 85% of customer interactions will be managed without humans by 2021. Juniper Research said that companies will save 2.5 billion customer service hours using chatbots by the end of 2023. Why chatbot? Why do we have all these statistics? Why is everyone very interested in chatbot? The reason is that, firstly, it is always available. You can have chatbot at any time. It's 24/7. It's also approachable. So, for example, if you're speaking to another human, you might have certain concerns on how to speak to another person, or maybe there are some information about yourself that you don't want to tell another person. But in a chatbot, you feel like it's fine because you know that it's a bot, it's not a real human. I will show you an example later on a chatbot that is becoming someone's companion, whereby he or she can share about the problems that they are facing, and the chatbot can give some advice. So if in real life, talking to another human, maybe it's not so comfortable for you to simply share your problems, but it's fine with a chatbot. And then chatbot is accessible as long as you have internet. Sometimes you don't even need internet. You can access chatbot using your laptop, your tablet, anything. So it is very accessible. Chatbot is also efficient. You get your answers straight away. So, for example, you woke up in the middle of the night. You have a flight tomorrow, and you just remembered that, oh, I'm not sure whether I can pack 8 kilos or 7 kilos. Yes, you can Google it, but it's much simpler for you to just ask. Okay, chatbot, may I know what's the limit for my hand luggage? And it will give you fast response without waiting. It's also scalable. um, Customer service agents can only tend to one person at a time. But chatbot, you can set it. You can make it handle 10, 20, 100 at one time. It doesn't matter as long as your server supports it. It's also cost effective. It doesn't take much to build a chatbot, but whatever the cost is, the benefit that it brings makes it worth it. Chatbot is also insightful. So when you talk to a chatbot, especially on pages where you have accounts like Lazada and all that, the information that you share with the chatbot will be stored. So it helps companies to see the types of questions being asked. For example, if an airline company has a chatbot that manage to answer FAQs, so they can see what are the kind of questions that people are asking each month. What is the most popular questions? So by knowing this, they know that, oh, my customers always ask this. So I need to put it clearer somewhere so that they don't ask anymore and things like that. So because of these reasons, chatbot has become very, very popular, especially in businesses, for it to handle customer service. There are two types of chatbots basically. It can either be rule-based or AI-based. Rule-based, we call it also as decision tree bots, whereby it simply uses a defined rule, a set of if and else, if this happened then what, and things like that. This can be a pro and also a cons, whereby rule-based chatbot can only answer questions that have been defined in the rules. It's a pro, especially in medical or legal chatbots, because we don't want the chatbot to answer wrongly. So using a rule-based one would be safer because it will only answer using whatever that we have taught. Okay. AI chatbot uses machine learning. It generates their own answers by learning. So the best example would be maybe Siri. At first, we don't know. Siri doesn't know you. So as you talk and talk and talk, it stores information about you. It learns, and the more it learns, it gets better. But then for medical cases, we don't want AI, or for legal cases, we don't want AI to give answers that we cannot predict, right? So that are the difference between these two. So how do we actually develop a chatbot? I will go through this by giving an example. So for example, I am a lecturer, and now we're in the midst of marking our students' assessments. So the students keep asking, Doctor, may I know my marks? May I know my result? The same question from different student repetitively, sometimes every day. So maybe I want to develop a chatbot that would answer these questions so that I don't need to answer the same question every day. They will get their marks when the marks are ready, right? So I have already did the first step of developing a chatbot, which is to define the goal. What should our chatbot do? So in my case, I want my chatbot to answer simple questions, trivial questions from my students. Secondly, you need to choose a channel where to put the chatbot on your website, mobile app, Facebook Messenger. In my case, our class has a WhatsApp group. So I believe that that would be the best channel for me to put that chatbot. I need to also think either to develop it from scratch or use a ready-made one. And finally, I need to create the chatbot, test it before launching it for the use of my students. And when creating it, I need to think of customizing the intent, entities, and variances. Intent, entities, and variances are three main components of chatbot that is very, very important. Okay, intent basically tells the intention of the user, while entities talks about the object. So if you can see in this example here, the user is saying, "Can you book me a flight ticket?" So the intention is for the chatbot to book the user a flight ticket. So booking is the intention, and flight ticket is the entity. Or maybe we take another example. Can you order me a dress size 8? So there's two entities there, the dress itself and the size. And the intention is to buy a dress. Okay. So it's very important for the chatbot to know the intent in order for it to answer correctly. We also have variances. So not everybody is going to ask a question using the same sentence. Okay, like you can say, "Can you book me a flight ticket?" You can also say, "I want to buy a flight ticket." You can also say, "Can I get a flight ticket?" All three sentences means the same thing, which is you want to book a flight ticket. So when developing a chatbot, you also need to think of what are the variances that can be there. So it is suggested that for each intent, you need to have at least 5 variances and at most 10 variances for it to be optimum. Today, there are a lot of chatbot development frameworks. So building your own chatbot is not that hard. For today's talk, I will just share with you the framework. There won't be enough time to actually teach how to develop a chatbot, but there are a few here like Rasa, with AI, Pandora bots, bot framework, Dialogflow, IBM Watson, and Lewis. Some of it are open sources, some of it you need to pay. Most of it uses programming, like Rasa needs you to know Python for you to use it. Pandora bots is you need to know a bit of programming. It uses AIML, which is AI markup language. It's quite similar to XML if you're familiar with it. And we have Dialogflow, whereby, if I'm not mistaken, you don't need to have programming knowledge in order to develop a chatbot using Dialogflow, because it gives you a good platform for you to play with. Okay, these are some examples of chatbots in our daily life. If you can see on the left, we have Masterfood. This is a chatbot built by one of my students in our AI class. So what it does is basically it asks the users whether the user have any allergy towards sushi. And in the example there, the user answered that he or she has an allergy with seafood, and Masterfood would suggest the sushi that is suitable for that kind of allergy. On the right side is a WAIBot, which I mentioned just now. WAIBot is, we can say, like a companion whereby you can share your feelings with WAIBot and it will help calm you down. For example, it's asking Alex about how Alex is feeling. And then Alex answered that he is overwhelmed and pretty stressed out at work. So WAIBot said that Wobot is sorry to hear that and gives some suggestion of tool to de-stress. And like I mentioned before this, we do have channels like Befrienders and all that for you to share your feelings, but it's not the same as a chatbot. When using a chatbot, you feel like you're free to just share everything. And some research showed that Wobot does help in reducing depression among human. So I've shared the source there. Maybe if you want to have a try, you can try and download Wobot later on. These are some examples of chatbot being developed quite recently because of the COVID pandemic. We have on the left is from the WHO. It's a chatbot being placed in WhatsApp, whereby we have, if you can read there, there's 8 choices for the users. And then the user can simply reply. Like, for example, the user chooses 3. So the chatbot will then, again, give a list of selection. And it works like that until the user gets the information that they want. And during the pandemic, the German government have also created a hackathon to develop a bot. So this is one bot that have been created. It asks the user on symptoms, and it will tell the user whether they have COVID or not, or whether they should worry with their condition. Both of this is being developed using ChatFuel. If you have time, you can have a look at ChatFuel because it's very, very simple for you to develop a chatbot using this. You don't need to do any coding. It's a very nice interface. You simply drag and drop and then just fill in some fields and things like that. And straight away, you're going to get a chatbot that you can place in WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. All right. Nowadays, the research in NLP is going towards making all these chatbots, all these machines to be more human-like. January 2020, earlier this year, Google has come up with Mina, which is their chatbot, that can converse just about anything, and they mimic human even more. So if you can see here, Google's Mina is able to crack jokes, like the user asks, "Do horses go to Harvard?" And Mina answered, "Horses go to Harvard." Okay, maybe Google can learn some more to make better jokes. But yeah, the current research is moving towards that, making conversation more and more human-like. Okay, so once all these bots goes more and more human-like, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions asking whether should we be worried? Will AI take over the world? Will AI take over conversation and all that? To answer that, I will like to leave you with this quote saying that one machine can do the work of 50 ordinary women or men. No machine can do the work of one extraordinary woman or man, right? So let's continue learning so that we can be those extraordinary men and women. All right, that's all for my talk today. I shared my email and my LinkedIn profile as well. If you have anything that you would like to ask, you can do so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zari, for your awesome talks. Okay, so do we have any question from the audience in the Facebook Live? Don't worry, don't hesitate to answer no, to post your questions there so that we can ask on your behalf to Dr. Zari. So in the meantime, we have another 5 minutes like for the Q&A. So let me ask Dr. Zari a question. Like as you said just now, the chat fuel is the best framework to use for this chatbot. So if we use the chat fuel, is it going to be managed by chat fuel, right? So then if we are going to make it commercialized, is it going to, like, do you need to pay some fees for that, or is it manageable, like the maintenance that after we are going to use that? Is it how the chat fuel actually works? Maybe you can share a little bit with us
All
for
right.
that.
All right. Thanks for the question, Rosa. I won't say it's the best, but it's easy. It's one of the platform that enables people without technological background to create their own chatbot. Of course, it comes with a price. You have a free account, but it limits you to certain users. I think like maybe 50 users, something like that. It also has a paid account. So if you want to go big and commercialize it, then maybe you can opt for the paid accounts. Talking about these platforms, of course, when you use platforms that is easy like ChatFuel, you don't have much control. So if you want maximum control on your chatbots, the best is would be to program yourself um, with the help of APIs like Rasa framework or IBM Watson and things like that.
So you're going to recommend the IBM Watson and Rasa for this, right? Like, are you using
Yes,
it now, like for your students?
my students, most of them uses Rasa. It's an API that they can use with Python. They can use Rasa to create the intent, create the entities, and all that, and it can be deployed into a website or an app. And Rasa has a good community base that can help you if you have any problem. So my students, they use Rasa when developing their chatbots.
Okay, so we have few
Mhm.
questions from the audience. Okay, we have question from Siti Nabila.
Mhm.
How to train bot if user are chatting unmatched phrases?
Sorry? Oh, unmatched phrases. Okay.
Yes.
It depends on the framework that you use. Usually we have keywords. Like in Rasa, it has its own lexicon or its own dictionary whereby it can accept wrong spellings and all that as long as it's near to the keywords. So we don't have a problem with that. So like for example, even if you write it in a mixed language, as long as the key entities or the keywords that make up the intent can be understood by Rasa, then it will be able to answer. But if not, w- in a chatbot, we usually will have a fallback intent whereby if the chatbot cannot answer the question, it will give that response. So, for example, it will say, "I'm sorry." Maybe you can repeat the question, or maybe it will say, "For this type of question, you will need to email certain people," or things like that. So we do have those options.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have another
Mm-hmm.
question. How do
Yep.
they make chatbot from Aisha Yusuf? How do they make chatbot more human-like? And do we have chatbot that can handle Malay or Manglish text? Oh, this is very interesting. Maybe Dr.
All right.
Toshi, maybe Mr. Toshi can explain more because you're handling the 16 cross right after this. So for the
Mhm.
design, how do you want to, yeah.
Okay. Currently, I know there are efforts going towards Malay language, but then, as you know, Malay language is a low resource language. So, uh, I can't. think of a chatbot that is using Malay language right now. Um, okay, regarding human-like chatbots, basically, these kind of chatbots are using AI and uh, techniques like machine learning and deep learning, whereby it learns from what you are saying. Okay, um, Mina, the Google example I showed you just now, it works by when developing Mina, Google feeds it with a lot of conversation, real life conversation between human, and Mina learns using that. So we're talking about thousands of conversations in uh, tweets, in maybe chatting application and things like that. So from there, Mina able to mimic the way human are speaking in daily life.
Okay, next we have a question from Arif Rahimin. What framework do
Mhm.
doctor recommend for a beginner like me? And another one is how do you integrate the bot with WhatsApp or Telegram?
Alright. It depends. If you are a beginner without any technological background, um, Pandora bot, I think, or Chatful is quite simple for you to use. And because of the popularity of chatbot nowadays, most framework would allow you to connect directly to your Facebook page or your WhatsApp, Telegram, and all that. Okay, so you just need to choose a platform and you can directly use it from there. But if you have good programming background or maybe just a little programming background, as long as you can do programming, then I would recommend using APIs such as Rasa, so that you have more control on your chatbot.
Okay, then we have another question. This is a very interesting one from Brian Ho. I
Mhm.
can see that the latest development in transformer models such as GPT-2 and GPT-3 will further spur the improvement of chatbots, but I still can't
Mhm.
see much development in user personalized chat engine. What's your view on this matter?
All right. Yeah, that is a very interesting question. Personalization is not something very easy for you to. I mean, being human-like is one thing, and then to personalize is another thing. If it's just a chatbot that does not have your account or any background information about you, then personalization would be very hard. Maybe after talking to the chatbot for a while in one session, then it could give you answer that is personalized to you. Even with the current technology, I agree personalization is still something very hard to do. Uh, if we have an account, yes, it's easier for you to do personalization, but not many of us like to be having an account somewhere because you feel like, yeah, everything you need to sign up, have an account, something like that, right? So I would say personalization is coming, but yeah, it's still not something very easy to do.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zari. So